Hello there, fellow Kerbal enthusiasts. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. This is Misfit from the Co-op guys. We are in the research and development part of the game. Let's have a look at all the science we have available to us. 1437. So, what are we going to buy? First thing, we're getting these skipper engines. We absolutely needed them last time. Let's see. These are locked to us, which is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine indeed. Let's see. We have now. This has the advanced SAS module, which is for the larger stuff. A bigger parachute. A bigger monopropellant tank. Another RCS port. I'm not entirely sure how to use these things because the other RCS port. Let me see if I can find it. Where are you, RCS port? RCS there. It fires sideways, right? Whereas this one fires directly out. I don't actually know if this is probably good for moving the ship sideways, whereas this is good. The other one is good for rolling the ship around. So a combination of the two might be beneficial. This will probably actually come in really handy for docking maneuvers, so which we will probably be able to do very soon. In fact, we're going to buy them now. We're buying the docking stuff. And we also get a hitchhiker storage container, which is just basically a module for storing Kerbals. And you can put 4 in there, and other than that, it does nothing. So, we've got a bi-coupler and some adapters, but it's mainly got the docking ports and the shielded docking ports. So, and this leads on to bigger and smaller docking port. Oh, I thought I had the bigger one here. Oh, and the quad coupler. I think we can leave that one for now. Let's see. Probe engines. Maybe design, maybe no. We definitely want to get the ability to have more science. So, barometer would be good, but that's really only useful for planets with atmospheres. We don't really need micro landing struts might be nice, but we don't really need the small gear bay. Alright, let's get that for the sake of it. Do we get more science? No, we don't. But we got a ton of science anyway, so let's just have a look and see what we can get. Not really interested in that. Inline advanced stabilizer, which is apparently exactly the same as the inline reaction wheel. So I'll leave that be. Solar panels and a bigger battery. Yeah, let's grab it. And what does that give us? Even bigger battery and a Gigantor solar array, which is awesome. And seismometer, which gives us more science. And another radio, which looks really cool, if I remember right. And this is rover stuff, but we're not interested in doing the rovers. Not at the moment, anyway. Let's get this purely for the command pod, because this can hold 3 Kerbals as opposed to 1. And it's also got the lander can. So we can actually make a dedicated lander for stuff. So let's grab that. What have we got here now? We have the cupola module, which is really for space stations, but you can use it for whatever. And a Mark II lander can. Maybe we could have skipped the first lander can altogether. Oh no, we could. No, we couldn't. And a big inline RCS tank. And of course the nuclear engine, which is great when you're in space because it is. Where's the ISP? And there's a number there that's called ISP somewhere. I don't know. But basically, it means it's really efficient at fuel. The downside of it is thrust is very poor. So you'll be firing the engines for a long time. But that is like your go-to engine for interplanetary burns. So, we have 300 science left. And what do we want to spend it on? Do we want the drone parts? The probe parts. Do we want these? These are like little engines that you can get, and little fuel tanks, little RCS tanks, little ickly things. Come on, make a decision. I would like that. Accelerometer would be good. What else have we got? Don't really need them at the moment. And I don't really need them at the moment. We just got our new solar panels, so we don't need the Gigantor one yet. Alright, we're going to go for the accelerometer. which gives us access to them in the future, which gives us a lot of science, I remember. And let us get the nuclear engine. Boop! So there we go. We've got ourselves a brand new set of kit. Now, what do we do now? I'll have a think on that. We are going to Minmus in 3, 2, 1. Launch, please. There we go. So we are headed off to Minmus, because it's right in our backyard. We've not been there yet. And we're trying out a lot of different things with this mission. A lot of the new tech we just discovered is going into this. For instance, we have the new skipper engines on the bottom of these large fuel tanks, which are not ignited right now, I should say. I'll explain that in a second. We also have our new docking port at the top there, which will be very important later on, and we've also got some new solar panels on the side of the craft. Now, when I made... Oh, I should also say, we got our new nuclear engines ready on our craft to take us to Minmus. So that should be interesting to see them in action later on. Now, the reason, if you have a look under here, the last thing that you'll notice that I'm trying is I have 2 stages of boosters on this rocket. I have never done this before. The reason I'm doing that is because these engines here are completely offline. I tried to get this into orbit before, and these 4 rockets in the middle were just not enough to get this craft into orbit without having to use fuel of this, and I don't want to keep making that mistake. So instead of adding more of these rockets and redesigning this whole bottom section, I just added a ton more boosters on this thing and called it good. So this is really slow to get off the ground at the start, because we've got 30 boosters and only 30 boosters on the outside actually lifting the thing. But once we stage, these outer boosters will drop, the inner boosters and the inner rockets will ignite, and that will give us our main boost of speed to get us into orbit. We're also using the new command pod, which can house 3 Kerbals, but if you note, we only have 2 at the moment. We have Kenford Kerman and Jed Top Kerman. He is one of our new guys. He will be... I don't know. I was actually considering making Jed Top our commander of this mission. But he doesn't look too happy with the situation, but he seems to be more in control of the situation than Kenford Kerman is. And he is a veteran in space flight at this moment. Well, he survived a landing, that's for sure. So, we're about to lose our outer stage of boosters, and then we will switch to the new ones. I've only got the inner engines throttled to 50%, so when they ignite, they're only going to be halfway done. So, let's lose them, and fire! There we go. Didn't put any Separatrons on that, and I didn't really think I needed to. But here we go. Should also say the name of this craft is the Duranial Skyforce 17. The Duranial Skyforce 17. Why 17? I don't know. I just wanted to put a number in that. It's not like I tried this 16 times and failed every single time. That would be ridiculous. Nah, seriously, I didn't try this 16 times. I actually, this works out alright. I actually made a mistake when making this, because this top section is the craft I'm actually going to take out to Minmus, and then I decided to put these engines underneath these ones as opposed to attaching it to this center one, because I thought it would make the design look a bit more interesting. Problem with that was I couldn't actually put a second set of these 3 rockets in between easily. It would like link up to one and have to connect the other with struts, and it would look awful, and it would also make it a bit asymmetrical as well. But instead of as I was saying, instead of redesigning the whole thing, moving them and connecting them back to this thing, so you know what, I'm just going to put boosters on it and compensate. So we're now picking up some speed, and we're just about to pass 10 kilometers. When we do, we can actually start moving over for a gravity turn to help use the rotation of the planet to actually put us into orbit. So we're going to roll over very slightly here. I think I rolled the camera a bit too far. we're going to go to about 45 degrees. Now, I never actually know exactly how to get into orbit that much. I've gone into orbit enough times, but I still haven't learned from it. Some people say go to 45, some people say to 90. It all really depends on the rocket you've got. And I reckon 45 is a good middle ground. So, and there goes our boosters. Let's get rid of those guys. Bye! And let's throttle up to full. Because now we're only powered by our new skipper engines. I also have a ton of lights on this thing, just so you can help see in the darkness, because we are launching at night, which doesn't help, especially for YouTube. But we're arcing over very nicely. Let's have a look at our new skipper engines in action. Oh, now there's a nice shot. Trying to remember to move the mouse out of the way whenever I try and get some nice screenshots for the game, so I can use the thumbnail, because nothing worse than having a really nice picture for a thumbnail and having the cursor just sitting there going, "Hello, how's it going?" Kenford is still freaking out, and now Jedtop is equally worried. I wonder what on earth is going through their minds. We're now at 25 kilometers, so let's speed around and have a look. Speed around, I meant to say spin around. Spin around, 37 kilometers and climbing, very nice. Our angle seems to be heading towards 90. This is why I kind of like to go at 45. Because especially for rockets, especially heavy ones, they kind of tend to drift back down anyway. So if we're aiming at 45, we might just end up at 90, and 90 is a kind of a decent angle to be heading into orbit in. Eventually these outer 3 tanks are going to run out and the center one will remain, and even though it is the new, more powerful engines, they really don't have a lot it doesn't have a lot of thrust with this craft. So getting a nice orbit straight away is going to be tricky, I will say that. I'm going to have to try and fire early if I can. 67, still a ways to go, and why don't we just go over to 90 now? I want to get some horizontal speed going with our vertical, just so we can try and get a nice orbit in. And this craft doesn't look too bad. It's a bit dark at the top, and I have some lights facing the wrong way, but that will prove to be important later on. So we're going to min-miss with this craft, but not just this craft. This is the first half of the rocket. This is going to be like the command section. So, oh, have we overshot? Oh no, we've almost timed this perfectly. And we're going to stop at about our good old number 105. Bring it down. Okay, 104.8, close enough. Now, let's plot our orbital burn, because this is the bit that's a bit iffy. I mean, we've got about a minute and a half to work with here before we reach this maneuver. There comes the space music. You are in space. Give thanks and praise. You are in space. Oh, I don't know what that means. That saying was a bit odd. Even worse than the last time. Okay. So, saying normally I would burn at 45, but these outer tanks are going to run out, so I'm actually going to start burning right now. Because even though we're going to lose a lot of weight when we get rid of these outer tanks, this center one just doesn't have the thrust to compensate for that. So our burn time is going to jump significantly. So we're going to burn now, reset our SAS so we stop drifting all over the place, and we're probably going to aim a little bit left of the maneuver actually, so that we still continue to try and gain a little bit of height. And there goes our outer engines. Get rid of them. Goodbye. Woohoo! And the lights from the ship are lighting them up brilliantly. There's actually lights on them. I don't know if they're still working now. Looks like they are. That's kind of cool. Also, when I did a test launch for this earlier, I came within 5 kilometers of a piece of debris from the Triforce 5 macrolith. That scared the crap out of me. Let's turn on the debris and see where all that debris is. So we've got a ton of it. So there is debris from our previous ship. Oh, there's that piece of debris I must have almost run into before, and it's traveling faster than we are. Or was it this one? No, 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 that's from the rocket the Jack built. It must have been that guy there that I almost collided into, and it is traveling fast. Must do something about the debris at some point. But see, our burn time jumped up. We still have to burn for another 2 minutes. And we probably want to aim... Our current trajectory is actually very good. So we want to keep aiming there. So that we can... What's our height at right now? 105, and we're climbing. Our apoapsis is at 110, but we're going to probably lose some of it by the time we actually... Because we're probably going to finish burning around about here. So, yeah. And the apoapsis is getting away from us. 47... That goes into 40... Yeah. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. A few quarters of this tank left. And this is just the tank to get us into orbit. And this is this thing that's going to take us into Minmus. Now, in all my previous designs, the lander craft, or whatever craft I've used, I've always used some of it to actually get into orbit. Not this time. I don't intend for this to ever use this part to use any of its fuel in order to get us into orbit. That's why I tested this several times before. Hang on. There's the Triforce 5 macrolith degree. I want to see this. I want to see exactly where that is right now. So there it is. 38 kilometers and closing. Alright, we're gonna... It's good. It looks like it's not gonna be that close to us, except possibly... Oh, crap. Over here... Oh, something happened to the window there. Okay, our angle of our orbit is a bit off, which is good because we avoid that debris entirely. And we're going to head back over to the maneuver point now. I think we've gained enough height as it is. Probably wasted a bit of fuel doing that, but that's fine because we have more than enough fuel to get into orbit and, importantly, enough to fix our orbit because we did come up a bit wonky, I just noticed. 34 kilometers. Well, that's a better distance than it was before. So we are about to enter orbit. We have an ascending node. Oh. Apparently we're going to pass within 10 kilometers of that thing over there. Interesting. We're going to slow right down. Turn on the caps lock for fine-tuning controls. A little bit too slow. Let's bring that back up. And we're going to get rid of that maneuver. 124. We're just going to bring that up. I don't care about how high that is. We can fix that later. And 100. Ta-da! We're in orbit. And I want to unset that as a target right now. Oh, that's some of the debris from before. Oh, it must be, it's at the launch pad. Oh, there is a ton of debris there, which I can't unset as a target because... Set as target, and then unset target. There we go. Alright. So now we're up here. Our craft is here. We still have some fuel left. That will help us fix our orbit. It will also help us boost our way along to Minmus. I don't expect that to last long, but we don't need it to. It's a bonus, really. So, let us... First, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to spend some time off camera fixing this orbit, and I'm going to bring this apoapsis down to about 100. So when I get to the periapsis, I'll do that. And then I will fix the orbit so we're on a flat plane. Then we'll go to phase 2. And phase 2 will involve a couple of things. It'll involve launching our lander and bringing that up here into orbit around Kerbin and docking it with this guy. The Duraniel Skyforce 17. And this guy, hang on, are we close to getting round to the sun? Nowhere near it. But when I get this orbit fixed, I'll come back and I will show you some of the things that this guy can do. Alright, we have got the Duraniel Skyforce 17 in orbit. A nice settled orbit. Oh, I was just checking how close that debris was. So we are 100 and 101.78. So I'm going to get rid of this debris off my map. There we go. Thank you. I don't think we're going to crash into them. By the way, Anybody who wants some tips on how to try and flatten your plane like this so that you're essentially flat with curbing going over the horizon, the same with the sun, something you can do is you can set your target as the moon, and it will show your ascending and descending nodes, and then you just keep moving until that reaches 0.0, and you should be good. It'll also tell you where to burn, so if you want to try and change it so it's flat with the moon, then wherever the ascending or descending node is, plot your burn there, and then you should be good. In fact, if you get it just right, that'll actually say NAN, which means you're bang on flat. We don't need that anymore. Let's have a look at our ship, though. So this is the Duraniel Sky 417, and here is a couple of things that it can do. Aside from the fact that if you look at it from this angle, it kind of looks like the face of a cat. There's its eyes, and there's a big beady mouth. And this mouth can go, ah! This is our docking port. A shielded docking port, which is that cool thing. You can open up and close at will. You can do it by clicking on it. Like you can close the shield and open the shield and things like that. Or what I've done is actually assigned it to a thing called an action group, which is just like hotkeys for doing different things at the same time. So I can just press a button, open up the docking port, and then close it at will. I think that thing's pretty cool. Also, having these lights on does use up a fair bit of electrical charge. So that's why we've got another action group lined up for this. Solar power. So yeah, we got some of our new solar panels on here in an interesting arrangement. And these ones are the shielded ones. I decided to put them on for the sake of it, really. Didn't need to. But these guys are basically, because why I was surprised that the solar panel's not breaking off last time is that they're supposed to. The only ones that are supposed to be able to survive re-entry are these ones here, and that's because when you pack them away, which I shall now demonstrate, they fold up into these compartments, which then seal themselves shut. So that these are the ones that are supposed to survive re-entry, as I understand it. Evidently, I don't understand it right, considering that the last solar panels survived. So here we go. The Duraniel Sky 417 is in orbit, awaiting its payload to deliver to Minmus. Speaking of that payload, we should probably set about launching that thing. And here is our lander, the Duraniel Land Force 53. Ta-da! It's a lot smaller, isn't it? Yep, definitely smaller, less boosters, but lighter craft. No time to waste. Why is Jebediah in the driver's seat? 1 second. We've got Chadfert Kerman in the driver's seat in this lander. The lander itself is tiny, so we don't need that much. But we've gone almost exclusively with skipper engines here. And we have no time to waste, because our rendezvous with the Duraniel Sky Force 17 is imminent. So, 3, 2, 1, go. And let's turn on the lights. I put a bit too many. It's brighter than the sun down there, but that's okay. We're heading up into the atmosphere. Might not show too much of this launch, or I don't know. I might show the whole damn thing, because this works surprisingly well, even though it's such a small ship. It does the job. I maybe should have done something similar to this for the other one. This is what I was meaning about the other craft, because before we had 1, 2, 3, 4 rockets, and we needed a ton of boosters. Of course, that craft was a lot bigger than this. Whereas this one, it's got twice the number of skippers on the outside, and it will do the job. So, we're already going to be losing our first set of engines. That's not a problem. Believe it or not, we're going to be just fine. So we're going to lose these about 3 kilometers. There they go, and goodbye. Off they go to crash down on the launch pad, which is incredibly resilient with the amount of stuff that we've dumped on it already, and it's still going. So remember, in true asparagus staging style, every time we jettison one of these engines, or a set of engines, the rest will last longer. So We're already up to 5 kilometers. We're approaching 200 meters per second. That's kind of like terminal velocity below 10 kilometers. So as soon as we start reaching 200, before we get there, we'll throttle down to try and match that. But I think we're going to be alright now. We're 20 meters per second away from that. So we might have to throttle down a little bit. Yep, there we go. Not too much though, we don't want to start falling. Okay, that's fine. As long as we're just grazing it, we'll be alright. Okay, we got a ton of experiments on this thing as well. Oh, I didn't put enough lights on the lander. That is annoying, but we can make do. So we're at 10 kilometers. Let's start our gravity turn, turning over to 45 degrees. And since we're above 10, we'll throttle all the way up. And lose our engines. Get rid of them. That's fine. We still got 3 more. This thing is a tad wobbly at the top. I did put struts to help stabilize it, but the more rockets we were losing, the less struts are keeping that thing in place. There's only 2 there right now. So it does kind of wobble side to side. Because it's a little weak here, but that's because we have a stack separator with a docking port. And those two don't seem to go together very well. So maybe next time I'll put a docking port there instead. And just undock the thing from this. That might have been an idea, considering what I plan to do with this. But anyway, let's have a look at the orbital view. The reason why I was in a bit of a haste at launch is that here is our Skyforce 17. Get that up, please. And we are on an intercept course. We are drifting a little bit, actually. This is a bit wonky. I wonder if we can fix that by... Oh, no, that's not right. Okay. We're a bit wonky. But let's just head down here. Let's see if we can try and fix that. But, even though it looks like it's far behind, this thing is traveling much faster than we are. So, by the time we get into a stable orbit, we will be close to intersecting with this guy. And then hopefully we will be able to dock with it. That is going to be a problem not a problem, but a challenge in and of itself. So let's stop at 100. There we go. Get our orbit burn going, or plotted. How close are we now? 99, 160. Snug as a bug. Bring that down, 108, 88. Ski whiffy, let's fix that. 88. 85, what? No. Get a bit more oomph. 111, 94. 105, 100. Okay, that's close enough. Space music is kicked in. We're coming below. I wonder if we can fix that. This burn. Like that. Maybe. So we're not exactly aligned. We can fix that later. Right now we need to focus on burning, because if we don't burn pretty soon, we're not going to be able to make that. So we're going to start burning right now. Get over to our mark, and we're going to lose those engines straight away. Get rid of them. Thank you. This thing is sugarly. Not as much SES on this anymore. It's just the Landercraft that's powering it. It's a good thing I burned when I did. Well, we could have actually had a little bit of time to play with. Not much though. And the lights are freaking out, so I'm going to turn them off. And then turn them back on. Nope, they don't like that. I'll leave them on. I'll just have to live with that, I guess. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Alright, so we're trying to get into orbit. Now, orbit's going to be a little funky compared to the Journey Skyforce 17. But that's okay. We can play around with our orbits and try and get these lined up a bit better. So, another 53 seconds left on our burn. If I could speed up time right now, I would, but I can't. Because unfortunately, you cannot speed up time when you are burning, or when you're under acceleration. But let's set this guy as our target, so we can see how close we are to intersecting. Right now, it's saying we have an intersect here we're going to be 52 kilometers apart. When we reach here, it will be there. So we're going to be ahead of it, but see that intersect point? That's probably where we're going to do our rendezvous. 28 kilometers, we can probably do something to fix that later, probably around about here. I should keep an eye on this burn because we are very, very close to messing up. I may have burned too early, actually. And bring that up. Oh, we definitely burned too early. Up to... Alright. That's fine. We got over half a tank left in this thing, so that's okay. And this thing is 314. Jeez, oh. Okay. Right, let's get rid of that maneuver then. Well, we kind of screwed that up. We're heading out into a really weird or oh, what? That's our intersect? No way. Alright. So first things on the agenda. What is our altitude right now? 113 and climbing. We might be able to fix our orbit right now. Maybe. We're not moving. Turn on the RCS. We need that extra thrust. We've got enough monopropellant to do the job, I believe. But we need to flip ourselves around. We need to slow our orbit down. Get yourself facing retroactively, almost directly towards our the craft we're going for. That's interesting. And let's just start burning a little bit now, so we can save our RCS fuel. We're going to need that later on. I'm not sure what's going on now. Oh, here we go. We're trying to bring our apoapsis down, so let's see. Is it affecting our periapsis? It is. In fact, if we burn straight towards the target, what's that going to do to our periapsis? Okay, cut that. We are going to have to wait until we get to about here to fix our orbit. Yeah. That's a shame. Kind of messed up that opportunity there, but yeah, you kind of have to do that with these rendezvous, unless we can go for this rendezvous now. Let's see. I want to actually unset the target and then set the target. See where we are. No, we're nowhere near. It's going to be way back there. Yeah, I kind of ballsed up that. But we can fix it. We can fix this. But we'll probably have to do that in the next episode. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you're enjoying this. And we'll see you next time we try to dock with our other ship so we can head over to Minmus. See you next time.